Welcome back to Birds of a Feather Talk Together. We're officially in full winter swing, and that means it's the perfect time to shine a spotlight on one of the most iconic cold weather visitors out there, the snowy owl. If you've been anywhere near bird Twitter or the local news, you may have heard about the pair of snowy owls in Chicago. These birds are stunning, unmistakable, and one of those species that gets everyone, even non-birders, buzzing with excitement. So today we're talking all things snowy owl, what makes them so special, why they pop up here in the winter, and how one magical sighting can spark a love of birding. Bundle up, grab your binoculars, and let's get into it. All right, welcome back everyone to Birds of a Feather Talk Together. This week we're talking about the snowy owl, and before we kick it off, I want to give a little backstory that there's been like a pair of snowy owls in Chicago recently, and I'm kind of embarrassed Amanda and I have not gone and seen them. It's like with work being so crazy, and I've been working weekends, and at first I was like kind of embarrassed to admit that we hadn't gone down to see it, and then I was like, part of the doing this podcast is that we get to live vicariously through John and through Shannon and through what you guys do, so I'm going to not be embarrassed and just be excited to hear, because I'm assuming, John, you've gone and seen them?
I have not gone to see these.
What?
I've seen a few snowy owls in the past along the lakefront.
How have you not gone down there, John?
I know. It's just...
Yeah, now you're shaming him.
Yes. I'm turning it on you.
I would look like a complete novice out there.
I mean, they're so everywhere here that our son from Kansas sent us a text saying, I heard about these. I saw pictures. Did you go see them?
That's awesome.
Yeah. We've had the same thing. Everyone has been reaching out to us, and it's like, no, it sucks that there hasn't been time for us to get down there, but it's so cool how big of a news story it is and how everybody is so excited about it. So that's been really fun to see.
No, I people, birders in particular, are very protective of owls because people seem to have a fascination with them. And so a lot of times, a lot of people come out. And the one thing I'd say is a lot of people saw these owls, which is absolutely amazing.
Yeah. And so they're down on Lake Michigan, like close to the shore.
At Montrose.
Yeah. Okay. And so what is, I mean, so occasionally there was, one down here last winter too? Like, how often do snowy owls make it down this far?
I mean, this is a bird whose biology is absolutely fascinating in the sense that they're breeding up in the high Arctic on tundra. Their primary food item is lemmings. Lemmings go through these massive population cycles that have been well studied by mammalogists. And what ends up happening is the snowy owl population fluctuates along with the lemming availability. So in really good lemming years, they can raise an awful lot of young. And what then happens is winter comes and those birds begin dispersing, both the adults and these newly fledged birds on their first trips. And they tend to come farther south than the adults. And in those years, you can get birds in places that you might not expect, in numbers that you might not expect. So I remember, I think it was 2012 or 2013, there was a massively good lemming year up in the high Arctic in North America. They're also in Russia, and I have no idea whether those lemming populations are actually synchronized at those levels, but they occur. They're a circumpolar thing in the high Arctic. And but in 2012 and 2013, for instance, there was a count of birds along a jetty in Vancouver, I think, British Columbia, where there were something like 80 birds hanging around.
Whoa.
So it can actually get the Harry Potter numbers in terms of things flying around sometimes too.
That's the first place I saw them, was in British Columbia by the ferry.
Oh, cool, Shannon.
Going to Vancouver Island one day, and I was not expecting it. And I was actually by myself in the car, and I knew what it was right away, and I couldn't believe it. And there were several of them on fence posts. I got to the ferry early. In those days, you didn't have to get there so early. I stopped on the side of the road, and there was nobody to tell.
You were the only one that noticed them?
Yeah.
Everybody else thought they were just white painted posts on the.
Oh, yeah. It was just snow.
I just think, you just drive by without even paying attention because it's just not in your wheelhouse. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, but the ones we see mostly around here are not bright white, like they are in their breeding grounds when they're mature adults. So immatures take several years. I don't even know how many, but several before they are, before they're mature and are white. That white, bright white with the yellow eyes that you
Well,
think of.
And the males are lighter than the females. The females are more barred.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're just clearly birds that get people's attention and are absolutely spectacular.
Yeah. I have a friend who I work with, and he's a freelancer, so I see him, maybe once a year, twice a year, and he's not a birder by any means. He's a big outdoorsman, though, and does like cross-country skiing and biking. And every time I see him, he tells me this story about when he was cross-country skiing up in Wisconsin and saw a snowy owl that was like on the ground and took off and saw it like fly away. And I was thinking about it, and it's cool that he knows it's a snowy owl, and I think most people, if they saw that, would know it's a snowy owl. And I'm trying to think of other birds out there that the average person would know what it was. It's like if that was a some type of, I don't know, a bald eagle he would know, but I'm trying to think of anything else. Yeah.
I think they'd know it was an owl. I'm not sure they would know it was a snowy owl. I mean, I would have probably known it was an owl before I knew anything about birds, but I wouldn't have known what it was. I think you overestimate what people know.
I think ever since Harry Potter that people have a much better idea what
Yeah, those that are 35 and older does not even include our own child who post-dated those books. So yeah, you're old, John.
No, but so in Chicago, they're I would say most years there's at least one or so that shows up. The other place that they're in the Chicago area where they occur, but they're not easy to see because the access is so limited is out at O'Hare.
Oh.
So they really like the open spaces. O'Hare is the biggest open space around here. And then along the lakefront, that's another thing, there aren't lemmings along the lakefront. And these guys are predators and meat eaters. And what they'll start doing is they'll start hunting ducks and things.
So that's why they're by the water over here.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting. Huh.
So, yeah, I started looking at breeding biology for them because the whole tied to lemmings I find fascinating. But their numbers they can only lay one clutch because of the relative shortness of the breeding season. But they routinely lay 5 to 7 eggs. Like that's their routine. So that's how difficult it is to actually. And there's some nests in good years that have had 16 eggs from an owl. And they're not precocial, like ostriches.
So I always like to point out that people can Google this. And in good years, not only can they lay more young, those young actually are much more likely to survive. And it's to the point where there are photos in really good lemming years of these chicks so that the chicks as they get bigger are kind of sooty brown until, like Shannon was saying, they get ready to fledge. And there are these big, very well-fed chicks in these nests, and all around the nests are dead lemmings that the adults have brought in because they're so easy to catch that the chicks aren't even able to eat.
Oh my gosh.
Jeez Louise.
Absolutely insane. And there's evolution for you. There's population cycling that is just amazing for these birds.
When I was researching, saw that it said that they can eat up to 1,600 lemmings in a single year. Like, that's a lot of lemmings.
And
just for one bird to be eating.
One bird?
One bird
Wow.
said 1,600.
That's crazy.
Lemmings are not house mice. They're a little bigger.
Yeah.
I was Googling just to make sure I remembered like what a lemming looked like, and it reminded me of like I had guinea pigs growing up. I was like, oh no. Maybe a little smaller, but they're kind of cute.
Yeah, and skinnier than your guinea pigs, I think.
Yeah, I had a pretty fat guinea pig.
They taste like chicken.
Oh,
I don't know that. I've never had lemmings.
So why does the lemming population cycle so drastically?
Good question. It's a other like Arctic hares do this too.
Okay.
I wonder if it's it's almost certainly some sort of evolutionary response to some aspect of between season resources, which
Okay.
is, but I don't know that people truly have a clear understanding of what that is. It may be that I think they're grazers for the most part, so they're chewing on shrubs and things, and maybe what happens is they deplete the shrub numbers, and so over evolutionary time, the following year the shrubs were worse, and the tundra plants were worse in terms of foliage, such that they needed to regenerate, and the lemmings began to over time adapt to that.
Okay. Interesting.
I mean, breeding in the tundra is a rough deal. I mean, that's not for the faint of heart to live in those environments. I'm not living in an environment like that. As you can see, I have 2 heating pads.
Yes, you are.
I looked at the energy. I looked at the energy prices, and I turned the heat up because energy prices are low right now. I've been so cold. But although some of my favorite pictures of snowy owls are of them on their nests, they're one of the only owls, might be the only owl that actually builds a real nest, but they build it on the ground. And so they kind of build it up so that they have a vista. So if you look at pictures of them, it's really majestic to look at pictures of them on their nests because they build it up so that they could see out over this flat tundra landscape a bit, both looking for prey and looking for,
Arctic foxes and
yeah,
things like
polar bears, something coming to eat them. But yeah, it's just beautiful, the pictures of them like that. So you guys, are you going to go? And they're still there, right?
Are they still there?
I'm not sure. One of the other things about these birds is they've been really extensively studied using tracking technology, and I mean they're borderline nomadic in the sense of being willing to travel long distances to look for good places to settle down and find things to eat. And so I don't know. I mean, one of the things that impressed me was again looking at things like Logan Airport in Massachusetts. There was a study, and I don't know how long the study was, but they were able to band something like 450 snowy owls, which I'm guessing in a given year implies that there are a lot more that are kind of coming through and spending a little while and then maybe going someplace else than you might think. So the fact that they aren't there right now doesn't mean that one won't show up in February this year.
And those banding studies have shown that they move incredible distances east-west across that, that band of high latitude habitats. So
Cool.
so imagine going from, northern coasts of British Columbia to Alaska, not to Alaska, but to Russia.
Oh, wow.
Fairly
Wow.
routine for them to go that far, which is pretty amazing. That's a long ways.
That's cool.
They're clearly comfortable out on sea ice. What was the word that I learned? Begins with a P, and it's an opening in the sea ice that stays open because of warm water, and they've been known to, like, the Aboriginals up in the high Arctic knew that there were these areas where they could find water out on pack ice because of warm water currents underneath that kept those areas open, sometimes reliably between seasons. And the owls would be out on those areas hunting ducks and things.
Whoa.
And
I saw. Oh, go ahead,
They were
Shannon.
in one of these eruptions. There was one at the airport in Honolulu in November of
Oh.
2011.
Whoa.
So that is a
All
long.
the way to
a bit-
Hawaii?
Apparently, they are known for landing on ships, so they almost
Okay.
certainly got some help. But
Oh,
still,
yeah.
that's go look at a map. Look at how far that individual traveled.
So when they have these eruptions, is it in search of food? Is it because lemmings are scarce or?
So yeah, my guess is that what's going on is as they go south, there's not good places to hunt, or if there are good places to hunt, there are already snowy owls there. And so
Oh,
they
okay.
keep pushing south to find areas where they're not going to be competing with other snowy owls.
Yeah, it's certainly young birds, which is what most of these eruptive birds are. They're not at the top of the pecking order, so they'll be outcompeted by senior males. And apparently, this bird doesn't mind wandering, so they'll just keep going further south, all the way out to Hawaii. That's how desperate they are. I mean, that's an adventurous bird. It must have. What on earth did that bird think when it got to Hawaii?
For real.
What on earth was going through its head?
Well, unfortunately, I'd say I'm guessing it wasn't going to get back from Hawaii, but
Oh.
that
Yeah.
may just be pessimistic on my part.
One thing I read was just like how, in the summer there's like 24 hours of daylight where they are. And so they're hunting when it's just daylight like all day long. And I thought that was pretty cool to think about because I think of most owls that we, see around here is hunting at night. And so it's cool that they can be, in the daylight and are hunting, have 24 hours a day basically to be looking for lemmings.
So I think that's a really cool point because the other thing that I was fascinated by is that they've also been, with tracking data, they've found them spending time in areas that are in the winter that are all dark. And so I had always described them as being almost completely diurnal.
Cool.
But
So it doesn't make a difference. They could deal with the darkness.
I guess there's not much else to do when you're up there. So
Yeah.
Okay.
Got to take a long time to capture 1,800 plus lemmings.
Right.
Yes.
maybe not.
Right.
Do it all in a couple days and just line the nest with them.
I don't understand why the lemmings don't fight back by just like running them over in their big numbers, just coming in.
It sounds like a Disney movie plot.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Maybe not a Disney movie, but
Yeah. So I also saw something that, and I think this might be kind of close to what you were talking about earlier, John, but I saw a report that James Audubon saw a snowy owl at the edge of an ice hole and would wait for fish and would catch them with his feet. Is that when you were talking about reports of them hunting near holes in the ice? Was that what you were hearing too, or was that more ducks?
There are ducks called eiders, which will winter up in those areas. But I'll bet you're right.
That's cool to think about.
Yeah. No, I mean, so so they're not unrelated to things like great horned owls, and great horned owls will eat anything. And I'm guessing snowy owls don't have to eat anything other than lemmings a lot of the time. But once things get short, they'll be as opportunistic as anything else.
I think that the relatively limited DNA work that's been done on owls shows them to be nested within the genus Bubo, which is a larger genus of owls. They used to be on their own, and it turns out that it seems like they're most closely related to long-eared owls, which is Bubo virginianus. So they're not, even though they're so morphologically distinct that they were put in their own genus. And if you look on our database, that's where you'll find them. You will not find them under modern technology.
You will soon.
They're under Nyctius. That's their old genus name. Actually, they've had a lot of names associated with them, but yeah. So, and Nyctia, that's my fun thing for the day or the week, is the whole Greek mythology that comes from that. So that I had fun looking up because I love the derivation of words so much. I had fun looking it up. So bubo, at first when I looked bubo up, I'm like, what? So it means like bubonic plague or swollen nose, swelling, things like that. I'm like, that makes no sense. But that's not where it actually comes from. It comes from these. I learned a whole bunch of things about words over the last couple of days. So this one actually is there's these things called pi languages and words. Have you heard of this before? I'd never heard of it.
No, I don't think so.
Proto-Indo-European origin. So it was like the ancestral origin of a bunch of languages. And so that was, that's where the bubo comes from, and it means owl in these languages. Usually, I guess, associated with eagle owl or something like that. But yeah, so that was my excitement for that. But the whole Greek mythology thing is scandalous. Are we allowed to be kind of scandalous?
I think so.
Let's hear it.
Okay, well, kids, you should close your ears because I'm about to say some things that are they're not safe for work, as my mom would say. So Nyctia means of the night. And so the Greek mythology comes from the Nyctia part, so the old genus part. And Nyctea was a princess, and she was turned into an owl by Athena, and is featured in kind of two stories, neither one of which is safe for work. So the first story is that the female Nyctia decided she was attracted to her dad and Nyctius, and coerced a nurse into telling him that this young maiden was really interested in him. So she ended up seducing her dad and having sex with her dad. And then after that, he found out and he got really mad and wanted to do something to her, like probably kill her. And apparently Athena stepped in and turned her into an owl. So that protected him from her father. The other story is maybe even worse, if any of these could be considered worse than the other one, which is that she was raped by her father repeatedly. And so Athena turned her into an owl because that was her favorite bird, and turned her into something she loved to protect her. So there you go. That's the trauma of Greek mythology associated with snowy owls for the day. And if you're under 10, you probably shouldn't be listening to that.
Wait, so is that Nyctius? Is that just for the snowy owl?
Yeah. It was never applied. Nyctius was never applied to anything else other than snowy owls. And it was like that because it's so distinct. But when DNA data started being used, you could see that Nyctia wasn't on its own.
It's
so
fascinating.
It was nested within the genus Bubo. So they sunk the Nyctia thing and put it in Bubo.
Genetic data has shown the same thing with polar bears. So even though they're considered to have all these incredible adaptations for living at high latitudes
and look so different.
Yeah, genetically they're embedded within the brown bear, grizzly bear. Genetically. So
wow.
Yeah, looks can be deceiving.
Yeah.
But clearly, if you nest in a place where there's lots of snow, there's an advantage to being white, and especially because there are a lot of white birds there, you know that crosses genomic tree of life lines to make things white. Although I'm not sure what the heck a polar bear has to. I guess it's white to sneak up on things, not because it's worried about something getting it. Although maybe whales get it. I don't. What does anything eat a polar bear?
I mean, I guess they're so like snowy owls, they're more than willing to. I mean, snowy owls are flying, but polar bears can swim pretty long distances. So I'm assuming if you had a pod of killer whales come along, it might be a scene from Godzilla versus Megalon or whatever.
I was reading something and it called the snowy owl. And actually, it could have been on Reddit or something, so I don't know how credible it is. But they said, like, the snowy owl is, like, is an apex predator for its area. So would it be, like, the snowy owl and the polar bear?
Yeah.
Like top of the food chain.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
a
Yeah.
polar bear's got to get more than 1,800 lemming.
Yeah.
It's true.
And the physiology that's been done on owls is interesting from that perspective too. And they really don't change their body temperature all that much, which you would think they might go into torpor at night or do something to lessen the energy demands. I mean, maybe that's why it needs 1,800 lemmings, because if it's maintaining a body temperature, not dropping its metabolic systems down, it has to
Oh.
maintain that temperature. It takes a lot of energy. I couldn't maintain that temperature for 5 minutes. And in fact, over the weekend, it was so cold in Green Bay. It said if you went outside with bare skin, you get frostbite in 10 minutes.
Oh.
Oh.
Here it was 20 minutes to half an hour before you get frostbite.
Jeez.
And we were outside in that. We were
Yeah.
at the
What?
we did
You're
we
crazy.
we didn't have time for the snowy owl, but we had time for the Bears game.
Yes.
My uncle got us
Yeah.
tickets, and yeah, we made it till halftime, and then we had to go get inside.
Yeah.
But no frostbite,
Yeah.
And the Bears won.
and the Bears
And
won.
the Bears won. Yes.
And now you have a story because that's the coldest Bears game day.
Yeah.
The previous
Oh,
coldest Bears
awesome.
game day was the one John went to with our son Peter,
Oh,
but
Crazy. Crazy.
which I watched from the house on TV.
well, I think we're
Oh.
getting kind of close on time for snowy owl. Do we want to? I wanted to cover that one loon thing that you sent us, John. Do you want to talk about that real quick? I can.
Yeah. So, we got a
Do you want me to-
email from
Oh, go ahead.
today from a listener, and there's a small pond off of I-294 in Tui that he wrote about, saying that he'd listened to an episode and there was a common loon on this pond, and he was wondering whether it couldn't get off because of the ice that had formed on the pond and the fact that the loon needed a runway to get off the ground, as we talked about in the podcast. And I put it out on what's called the North Shore Bird Chat, which is a kind of a just message board for the birders up around that area, and they immediately responded, and several of them had seen that bird. And sometimes when loons do that, they can get off, and the weather here in Chicago is getting warmer, so perhaps that bird will be able to get off. But sometimes, especially if there's nothing for them to eat in the ponds, they can begin to get weak, and sometimes people can go out and, like some of the rehab centers can have people that'll get in a canoe and go out and try to catch them and bring them in, because they can't literally get off the water.
So here's some more fun facts about snowy owls. We have 228 of them in our collection.
Oh,
But
wow.
the other fun facts is there are a lot of fossils of snowy owls, which is interesting. Pleistocene mostly, so within the last couple of million years. But they're also among the first birds that are easily identifiable as snowy owls in cave paintings from prehistoric times, which I also found interesting too. There's your, learn new things every day.
What are they using to make things white on the cave wall?
Good question.
I don't know. I didn't look at pictures
I
of
want to see those. I'm looking those up because I'm not sure they're not gulls.
No.
Oh, man.
I don't think they're.
So-
I mean, I don't know. Maybe people lie, but I didn't look up pictures. I was too busy worrying about owls being raped by their
Yes, you were
father
worried about that.
or seducing them. I was scandalized by their by that Greek. I guess a lot of Greek mythology is scandalized, right?
Yeah.
So,
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
certainly based on what we're hearing.
I was not
Yeah.
expecting that to be the story when they said there are two stories about the name, and I'm like, okay, oh my.
Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes that Greek mythology stuff can get dark pretty quick.
Yeah. Right. John, did you know the listener that sent in the loon pictures?
I did not.
No, okay.
So
Let's see.
I really appreciate Chris sending that in.
Yeah, Chris took some awesome pictures. It was really cool to
Yeah,
see
he did.
those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one of them, the loon was catching a fish too, so hopefully it's
Yes.
got enough food to wait out until the ice melts and can get out of
Exactly. A lot of those little ponds have fish in them. And I was thinking that loons, because of their diving capability, could get under as the ice got closed up. Some of the other ducks, I think, have a lot more problem with that.
Except the pond is not clear, right? So they like they don't like turbid water, or I don't know what that water pull is like. But if it were clear, I'd be outside right now, sitting sitting in the winter. That's how confident I am that is not clear water off of Tui and the interstate. No,
that's not where you get your drinking water, Shannon.
Yeah,
I hope not. And I'm not going swimming there either. Oh my. But, if people want to have hope about the world, they should come and hang out with people who listen to our podcast, because everybody who has communicated with us has been so nice and funny and interesting and open with their own stories. Oh,
absolutely.
Yeah. Anytime we get anything, it's always so exciting.
Yeah. We're so happy. Yeah.
Although it does remind me that people other than the four of us listen.
I know.
I live in a carefully protected bubble that this is just a conversation among the four of us.
I know. Sometimes it's better to just think that way.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
But for people that are listening, thank you, and spread the word too. We're still, I know we bring this up every now and then, but the more you can tell other people about it, the more it helps us out, and we really appreciate it. So thanks everyone for writing in, and
send us questions and send us pictures. The questions often lead you to looking up things you didn't know before, which is really fun.
Absolutely.
All right. Well, is there anything else on Snowy Owl before we wrap it up?
Nope. I think we're good. Just go see them.
Yeah.
Don't wait.
Yeah.
They might not be there very long.
You never know what you're going to find at Montrose in Chicago. You never know.
Thanks everyone for listening. We'll be down next week for the holidays, but feel free to go back and listen to some of our favorite episodes from the year. We have over 100 episodes, something for everyone. We'll be back the following week with our episode on the amazing documentary Listers, which will be a hoot. Everyone have a wonderful and safe holiday season. We love you all. See you on the other side.